Kia ora tātou katoa and welcome along to another episode of Beyond the Hustle. For those of you who don't know me, tēnā koutou, ko Anton tōku ingoa. My name is Anton and I'm joined today by my beautiful wife, Jess.
Morena.
And thank you very much for joining us. Today's episode, we're going to have a kōrero, a discussion about something that I think doesn't get anywhere near enough airtime or enough attention, and that is money. So this episode is going to be all about money, and in particular, we're going to kind of dive into some common phrases and kōrero that we often hear about money and kind of just unpack them a little bit. So if that's interesting to you, then hang around and let's get into it. Kaupapa. All right, so where shall we start?
I think let's just preface it by saying that money can be like quite an uncomfortable thing to talk about.
For some people.
Yeah, you know that I've always kind of felt a little bit uncomfortable talking about money or sharing things about money with other with people, and whereas I feel like you're always really open to talk about money. But yeah, I think it can be like quite an uncomfortable subject for some people.
It's become a real tapu topic.
Yeah.
And I don't really know where that comes from. Maybe today in our kōrero we'll kind of unpack the reason why so many people feel uncomfortable talking about money. But it's important because it's something that we all eventually have to learn to use, understand, deal with, grapple with. And I feel like we don't talk about it enough in the home, not you and me. I mean, we obviously talk about money a lot around our whare, but just generally speaking, I think from a societal point of view, we don't talk about money, we don't discuss it. We certainly don't teach it in our education system, no matter what education stream you're in, to the best of my knowledge.
No, you're absolutely right.
And yet it's this really, really important thing that everyone has to deal with for their whole life.
Yeah, such a huge part of life. And if you can kind of unlock how to manage money, things become a lot easier. But you're right, people don't have conversations amongst their peer groups about, hey, how do you budget your money? What are you investing in?
Yeah, exactly.
You know, like, how do you make it work?
So I think it's probably timely that we have this kōrero and maybe unpack where some of those ideas come from, because they must come from somewhere.
Yeah.
When people talk about money is the root of all evil, or money doesn't buy happiness, or, you know, all of those phrases in kōrero that we hear, people have to kind of figure out for themselves, what does that mean? So, all right, well, let's jump into it.
Let's start
You've got a list of some kōrero?
Sitting here.
Okay, hit me.
Let's start with money is the root of all evil.
Money is the root of all evil. Where do you reckon that comes from?
Probably greed, I think. Probably, yeah.
Do you think it's people, that saying has come about because there are people out there who will do evil things in the name of acquiring wealth and money?
Acquiring wealth and then probably using their money for greed as well, I suppose. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it comes from the things that people will do that most of us would consider bad or evil, to use that word, in the name of acquiring money and becoming wealthier and rich. People will go to extreme lengths for $1. Yeah. Lots of dollars.
And not necessarily just rich people, but, you know, poor people too will go to extreme lengths to get themselves $1. So I suppose that was also where that comes from. Money is the root of all evil, that when you're desperate for money, you'll do things that you probably wouldn't do otherwise, as well as the other end of the spectrum, which is the people with lots of money who just appear as though they don't care about anyone but themselves and their money. So what do you reckon? Do you think money is the root of all evil?
No, I don't think it's the root of all evil at all. I mean, I've always believed that money it's kind of like an amplifier. It's just a resource. It's just a resource that gives you the ability to be able to do what you want with that resource. It just gives you utility. That's all it is. So the more money you have, the more ways in which you can spend that money.
Yeah.
But I've always believed that it's just an amplifier of who you truly are. I think people's real colours are revealed in the way that they spend their money. So like if you are an evil dickhead person, then acquiring more money is just going to give you more resources to be able to go and become the person that you really are, which is an evil dickhead. So absolutely, in those cases, if that's how you're hardwired, then yeah, money is going to make you more evil because it just gives you more resources. But the opposite side of that, of course, is that if you're a really kind person, a very generous person, a person who likes to help uplift people, a very giving person, or then having more resources like money at your disposal, I would like to think would just make you more of that kind of person. So I don't think it's the root of all evil. I think people definitely do some pretty nasty things in the name of money, 100%, can't deny that. But then there's a lot of other people who do a lot of really good things with their money. So they go out there and they hustle and they work their asses off and they try to acquire massive amounts of wealth so that they can do things that they consider to be really beneficial for their community or for their people. So I don't think it's the root of all evil. I think it's an amplifier. It amplifies the person and people begin to see the real character of the person.
Yeah, definitely.
What do you think?
Yeah, I totally agree. I think it probably also comes from money as the root of all evil because it causes conflict between people. For some reason, money is one of the things that probably people are more competitive about in life than anything else. And so when someone's got more than you, there's kind of all those feelings that are connected with negativity are kind of heightened when you're talking about money rather than like, oh, wow, you've made this much money this year. Hey, that's awesome. That's great.
It's funny, like if we compare it to other things, like if somebody goes to, I don't know, university, works really hard, graduates with a degree, we go, amazing, that's so good.
Yeah.
Or if somebody goes on this big fitness journey and loses a whole bunch of weight, or I don't know, becomes a bodybuilder and is standing on stage and we go, we applaud that, we go, that's amazing. But if someone goes through a journey and makes a lot of money, we go, don't know how I feel about that.
Yeah.
It's such a weird thing.
Yeah.
That we shoot differently.
Yeah, good job.
Yeah, wow, you work really hard. You earned that and that's so amazing. But if that same person went on a totally different journey in life and achieved something magnificent, we'd go, that's amazing. So it really is the outlier. People treat money so differently. And you're so right. So many problems begin with money.
Yeah.
That's probably another angle of money is the root of all evil because, we've had a lot of relationships that have been tense at times or perhaps have even broken down. And a lot of the time it does come back to money. And it shouldn't, but it does.
And it's probably something everyone kind of treads on eggshells around in all their relationships because they don't want it to be ruined because of money. Yeah, I don't know. I think I've just seen in the world lots of jealousy, hate, all that kind of thing because of other people having money. Whereas you're right, why do we not uplift people and go, hey, that's awesome, you've got money, what are you going to do with that? How are you going to use that to like uplift, like you said, uplift the people around you?
Yeah, or like, how did you do that? Can I learn from you? Can I ask you some questions?
Yeah.
Because, but we just don't celebrate acquiring wealth in the same way as we celebrate acquiring knowledge, as in going to university, getting a degree.
Yeah.
Even though it's a skill to acquire wealth.
Yeah, definitely.
We just don't treat it the same as every other skill that people can go and learn and develop.
Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, what else have we got on the list?
We'll leave that there. Money doesn't grow on trees. How many times does everyone hear growing up? I feel like it's like the 90s child saying.
Yeah.
But everyone who grew up in the 90s.
You hear it when like.
Grow on trees.
Yeah, or like when you waste something. What's your understanding of money doesn't grow on trees? What is that? When you hear that, what does it mean to you?
My understanding, I think, has always been money doesn't just appear out of nowhere. Like it takes hard work to go and get that money. So don't just waste it.
Interesting.
Don't just throw it away and waste it. It doesn't just grow on trees. You have to work really hard to get that money. So don't just go throwing it around everywhere.
Yeah, don't waste
Look after it. Yeah, I think.
Okay. Yeah, no, that's true.
What about you?
Similar. I think the other way that I have thought about this saying in the past, money doesn't grow on trees, talks about scarcity. It talks about there isn't much of it. It's not like leaves on a tree. There's tons of leaves on a tree. Money's not like that. It doesn't just grow on trees. But then I think that really speaks to a real scarcity mindset because we teach people it's this thing that you have to protect at all costs. There's only a certain amount of it out there. It's not like leaves on a tree. So if you've got it, protect it, look after it. Don't just waste it. Don't just go in Momo. Don't just spend it on anything. But then I think the opposite side of that coin is actually there is an abundance of money out there. Like there really is. There's more money than you could possibly imagine. Like there are trillions and trillions and trillions of dollars out there. So there's no shortage of money. The problem, however, is that we don't know the cheat codes to unlock that money. And because we don't know the cheat codes to unlock that money or the doors that we have to knock on that open up to all of this wealth, we we tell ourselves it's a scarce resource. It's not like leaves on a tree. There's only so much of it around, so don't waste it. But I really think that does us a disservice, because there is just an abundance of money out there.
Mm.
What about if we flip that whole saying on its head and we said, money is like leaves on a tree. It's everywhere. Your job is to go out and try and find those trees.
It's almost like the wealthy want us to think there's not much money out there. Look after what you've got. It's almost like if all of society had this idea that there's an abundance of money out there, you just have to learn how to get it and access it and find it, then the wealthy would be in trouble.
Except they wouldn't, because people don't believe that they're like, if this podcast went viral and got 1 million views, 999,000 of them would go, he's full of shit. And
not
maybe
looking for the key.
Yeah, and maybe I am. I don't know. But I think, that money doesn't grow on trees. It teaches us that money is a scarce resource. And I don't think it is. I'm pretty sure there is an abundance of money out there. And if you want it, you have to go and find it. It's pretty hard to find.
Yeah.
But actually it does just grow on trees, not literally. But there is an abundance of money out there if you go and find the right trees.
And you just have to be prepared to work for it.
Yeah, of course you do.
Yeah.
You have to not necessarily work for it, but you have to be able to work to learn the skill in order to be able to unlock the cheat codes to the abundance of money. Interesting. I just think it teaches us, that saying, there's two ways to look at it, You have to work really, really hard in order to be able to earn money.
So don't waste it. I
think that's 100% true. Like, you do have to. Every dollar I've earned in my life, I've worked really hard for it. Mm-hmm. So that's one side of that saying. It doesn't just grow on trees. You actually got to go out there and work for it. But then the other side of that is, it's not like leaves on a tree. It's not in abundance. But actually, I think that's not true. It teaches us to think about money as this scarce resource, and I don't like that.
Almost like teaches us to think inside the box.
Yeah.
Rather than thinking outside the box.
Yeah.
Okay, so next one is a good one for you and I. We've talked a lot about this over time, and that's time is money. What's your kind of take on what that means?
Time is money. I think it speaks to, obviously we all have the same number of hours in a day. Every single one of us. It's the great equalizer. And so if your goal is to generate more money, then the trick is, or the challenge is, to try and figure out, how do I generate as much money per unit of time, call it per hour, as I can. And some of the things that we do in life have a very low return on investment, and some of the things that we do in life have a much higher return on investment. So, like, for example, if I'm tidying the house, no one's paying me to tidy my house. If I'm cooking dinner, no one's paying me to cook dinner. If I'm folding the washing, I'm not earning money by folding the washing. But I need to do all of those things, because otherwise my life would be chaotic and my house would be messy and I wouldn't eat. So all of those things are low value tasks. You don't earn a lot of money. But there are some things that I do where if I go out and I teach a workshop, I earn much more money from an hour worth of teaching corporate clients about cultural intelligence than I do folding the washing. So hypothetically, if it was possible for me to teach workshops 10 hours a day, I'd make a lot more money than if I just folded washing for 10 hours a day.
So it's like if you outsource, like, let's just say, cleaning your car. So if you outsource cleaning your car, that hour that you were going to spend cleaning your car, if you can use that hour to create money in a different way, then that's where your time is money, and outsourcing it becomes really valuable.
Exactly.
Because you're paying somebody $80 to clean your car while you go and use that time to go and generate $2,000.
Sure.
Perhaps.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's the principle, right? So time is money. It's like when we're wasting time, we are wasting potential to go out there and earn money. So I think when people say time is money, they're saying you are wasting a really valuable resource, because the sort of people that say time is money are the sort of people that recognize every time I waste a minute or an hour, I'm losing potential to go and create money.
Yeah.
So time is our most valuable resource. If we waste it, we waste not only our most valuable resource, but also the opportunity to earn money in that time.
Yeah.
But outsourcing and finding ways to replace low value tasks and jobs with high value tasks and jobs where you can earn money is part of the cheat code, I think.
And I think that's interesting if you're able to really hone in on using your time and outsourcing some things, then you're then able to make the most of the time that you have to do other things that are just as valuable, if not more valuable.
100%. There are a whole bunch of mundane tasks around the home that I really don't enjoy doing, but we have to cook, we have to fold washing, we have to tidy the house. There are a whole bunch of things that we have to do that I really don't enjoy, that take up a lot of time. One of my goals, and I don't know how I feel about saying it out loud because people will misinterpret what I'm saying, but like I would love to have somebody who cooks good, nutritious, healthy kai for our whānau every day. Because if I added up all of the hours from writing a shopping list to going to the supermarket, to walking around all the aisles, to coming home, to putting it away, to cooking every night, to doing the dishes, all of that adds up to, I don't know, probably 2.5, 3 hours a day. I only got 24 of them. And then after that, I've got to tidy the house, got to fold the washing. And it's not just fold the washing, and I'll be honest, you're the one who washes it. But like, we've got to do the washing, we've got to wash the washing, you got to hang the washing out, you got to bring it in, you got to fold it. Like all of that stuff just adds up to an unbelievable amount of time.
No, you're right, and we don't necessarily see eye to eye on that.
So, but what if we could pay somebody? I don't even know how much it would cost. Let's just say hypothetically, it was $1,000 a week. What if we could pay somebody $1,000 a week to take care of all of that? The challenge then is we would need to somehow go out and go, all right, we've saved now 6 hours a day. Probably not that many. Let's say 5 hours a day we've saved in housework. It's costing us $1,000 a week to create 5 extra hours of time that we can do with whatever we want. If we could somehow generate that $1,000 from 2 hours, that gives us we've just created 3 more hours to do puzzles, to go outside and play on the trampoline, to go for a walk as a whānau, to just hang out and talk. Like for me, that is so much more valuable than folding washing.
And I think inherently, I feel like we should be folding our own washing, cooking our own meals. It's almost like I have this inherent feeling that if we're not doing those things, we're being lazy. Do you know what I mean? It's almost like, and if we're not showing our kids how to cook and clean and do the washing, then we're being lazy. But I also, logically, if I think about what you're saying logically, it's like, well, hang on a minute, we outsource a whole lot of other things in life and we pay for other things in life. And so, we don't go to the farm and pull out the veggies, like
milk the cow,
all of that, and we go to the supermarket and we pay for that.
That's right. So, actually, what's the difference?
Why is it that I feel so uncomfortable with the idea of I think it's because it's always been how the other half live. It's like it's always been really, really wealthy people where it comes back to that idea of money is evil. It's like it's the wealthy people who don't care about anyone else, who aren't doing good things with their money. They're just being lazy and not doing their own washing. And I think that's where it comes from.
And I think it also on the surface looks a little bit like having a servant or someone that you're paying to do all of the stuff that you don't want to do. But you're absolutely right. We already do that. It's just that we haven't stopped to think about it. Like, when was the last time that either of us went out to go and milk a cow? To put in our cereal? I don't think I've ever done it. So I've outsourced that part of my life. There's a whole bunch of stuff that we already outsource. I never sewed these clothes. I paid somebody somewhere in the world to sew these clothes when I bought them.
I'm sure there was a time in history when people would go, what, you don't make your own clothes? You go and buy them? And that was like...
how the other half lives.
Maybe. So, I think that's why I feel that whole idea makes me feel uncomfortable.
I get it.
But I also logically can look at that and be like, why should it make you feel uncomfortable? If you can generate the money to, like you said, buy that time, like get that time back, plus more, which then allows you to go and do spending quality time with the people that you love, creating memories, then why wouldn't you? I suppose.
And to getting back to that original time is money. Time is money. You only get a certain amount of time to spend however you want. And if you're going to spend it on low value, if you're going to spend some of your days, let's say 8 hours of your day, we'll call that a working day, 9 till 5 or however you define it. We spend sort of 8 hours a day on generating money, and then we spend the rest of our time either sleeping or eating or being leisurely and just doing mundane tasks that don't earn us money. But what if we found a way to spend to earn more money in those 8 hours or 10 hours or however much you want to work, using leverage, which is skills and knowledge and resources, to earn more money so that we could spend money to pay people or to buy systems or machines or whatever to do the mundane stuff so that we could actually enjoy more quality time. It's an aspirational idea of mine, but I know it doesn't really sit too well with you.
Yeah, it just...
Or society for that matter.
Yeah, I think that's what it is. It's not that I disagree with you or anything. I think I just go, oh my God, I suppose...
Can I ask you something?
Yeah, go.
So if you don't disagree with me, is the thing that's preventing you from agreeing with me how other people feel?
Probably. Yeah, probably. Which is probably a whole nother conversation. I guess both of us grew up in like real working class families. And I guess I didn't ever want to be somebody that is looked at as having more than anyone else, if that makes sense. I just want to be the like down to earth, you know.
We value humility in this country.
Yeah, we do. And I know that you and I have like zero judgment over the kind of house people live in. You know, if you're living in a really old, rundown whare, but there's so much love, then like you're my people.
Yeah.
You know, and it's like I think you're probably right. I think I probably worry about what people perceive that to look like before actually knowing who we are.
Yeah.
When you start to bring those things into...
We really value humility. You and me value humility.
Yeah.
Like we've often said that if you added 3 zeros to our bank account, I wouldn't know what to do with it. Like I probably wouldn't change my behavior.
I would, yeah.
Like these shorts are,
yeah,
these are Hallenstein shorts. This is an AS color t-shirt that I printed, and this is a Joe's cap. Like this is how I dress. I don't own any Louis Vuitton or Gucci or anything like that. So we're not, I value humility as well, but I see it as an investment in our whānau quality time.
Yeah.
And to be clear, like it's just something I've thought about, but it'd be interesting to do the numbers on it. And that's the sort of stuff that gets me really motivated. If I knew, if someone walked in the door right now and was like, I'll do this, and this task, all those tasks that you hate, I'll do it for $1,000 a week. Okay. Interesting.
And you wake up on a Saturday morning and you go out with your kids and spend the day making memories.
And it costs me $1,000 a week. I go, okay, cool. My challenge now is to make sure that I can create more money so that I have an additional $1,000 of surplus each week to pay for the service. And if I can do that, look at all of the memories that I can create. Look at all of the valuable whānau time that I can create that isn't sitting in the lounge folding washing or cooking dinner and trying to keep the kids distracted on a screen so that I can just focus on cooking the chicken stir fry. What if I could actually just say, hey, let's watch something together, or let's get on the ground and play a card game or a board game, and have somebody else cook dinner for us. Yeah, it's actually no different than going and getting takeaways. Yeah, or going to a restaurant. Yeah,
but for some reason, as soon as they're in your home, you suddenly feel for some reason that society would look at that as like,
because they would.
Okay,
everyone would.
That's bougie.
Yeah, and like to be honest, I probably would as well. If I walked into someone's house and they had a private chef, I'd be like, damn,
bougie. Yeah,
damn, that's pretty cool.
Yeah,
it's interesting.
Yeah, that is.
All right, time is money. Okay,
that was a big one. Okay, so that kind of leads into the next idea that gets floated around with money.
Kōrero.
You can't take it with you.
Can't take what? Money
with you. So I guess that is referring to when you die. You can't take your money with you. It's meaningless to you.
So what does that mean? Spend it.
I think so. I think that's probably how it's usually.
Spend it while you can.
Yeah, spend it while you can. Make the most of it.
How do you feel about that?
Yeah. Feel like I kind of agree and disagree at the same time. What it doesn't talk to is leaving something behind for generations. And you and I talk a lot about intergenerational wealth and creating that. However,
I made a t-shirt that literally says intergenerational wealth.
So there you go. Yeah. So if that's something that we inherently believe in, but then on the flip side of that, there's only so much that you will even need. There's only so much money you want, that you need in your life to be able to live. And so I also believe that you're better off making memories and doing things that are gonna make your life really full and whole and happy and all those things, rather than just hoarding it away in property. Because then when you die, it's like, okay, cool.
And intergenerational wealth isn't just measured in dollars.
Yeah.
Cash flow.
Yeah.
Intergenerational wealth is knowledge. It's passing information down from one generation to another so that they don't have to spend their life trying to relearn what you already learned.
That's right. Yeah.
So intergenerational wealth isn't just measured in currency. That's my point.
Yeah. Because you could earn all the money in the world, have it sitting there, give it to your kids, and then they don't know what to do with it.
Exactly.
You die, they don't know what to do with it. It gets all wasted, and then you're done.
In some ways, you've left them with a burden.
And you should have just spent it and enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Done the things that, or helped people and given it away and, done all the things with it, because you can't take it with you.
No, I totally agree. There is a fine line, though, because I truly do want to make sure that if I work really, really hard and we create wealth, more wealth than we've ever had, I don't just want to waste it. I'd like to ensure that we are using it in a way that creates more opportunities for our descendants to also get ahead in life. Because I am a firm believer in I've only been able to do the things that I've been able to do because of the foundation that I was given when I was born. So I'd like to build on that and add to it and leave the next generation in an even better position. But yeah, you're right. It's a fine line, because you also don't want to hoard it all away, go without for your whole life. Because I also, as I get older, I think about this stuff. God, it's pretty depressing. But I do think the harsh reality is that we all live for, I don't know, most of us 70, 80 years-ish. And then we die. And when we die, everyone cries for a wee while, if they're still alive. But after about 2 years, most people have forgotten about you, except for your loved ones.
So your closest, that's right.
Yeah, except for the ones that really cared about you, and maybe, every so often that think about you. But after 2 generations, no one knows who you are. No one knows. Yeah. Certainly after 3 generations, unless you were the person who, shifted the needle.
Split the atom.
Yeah, and made a massive difference, and people write about you in history books. No one's going to remember you. So if that's the case, first of all, who gives a shit about what other people think? Because who cares in the end? And number 2, you might as well enjoy the time that you've got. And you might as well enjoy it with the people that you love the most. So yeah, it is kind of it's a fine line, because you don't want to hoard it, because you're right, you can't take it with you. It's no use after you're dead, to you anyway. It might be to other people. So you're better off spending the money that you've got. Like I said at the beginning, it's an amplifier. It's just a resource. It's just utility. Yeah. If you've got this money, spend it doing the things that you want to do. Create moments of joy, of happiness, create memories. But also, if you're in a position to be able to leave something for your tamariki, your mokopuna, then do that. But I do stress that intergenerational wealth isn't just about leaving money and assets. It's about knowledge. It's about transfer of knowledge, of wisdom, all of that stuff.
Yeah, and I think that's where it kind of gets lost. And the knowledge that you can pass on to your kids and the skills of maybe how you got there is actually more important than leaving them with the money itself.
Yeah, I think what I definitely don't agree with, if someone said to me, well, you can't take it with you, so screw your kids and screw your grandkids and just spend it all, I'll be like, no, you're not really my person. Yeah. I don't agree with you. So yeah, I agree. You can't take it with you. There's no point in hoarding it at the expense of doing some really cool fun shit while you're alive. But at the same time, I want to leave something for my tamariki. If nothing, knowledge and wisdom, if I've got any. Yeah. But I would also like to leave resources, because I know that assets and resources, it makes life easy.
Yes.
Yeah,
that actually is really good lead in to the next and last little money saying, which is money can't buy happiness. So you hear that all the time. Money can't buy happiness.
Spoken by a privileged person.
Yeah.
I actually disagree with this 100%. I understand the sentiment. Like if you are in a really bad place, then having lots of money in your bank account won't fix that.
Yeah.
I agree.
It won't find you a lifelong partner.
No.
Or and I think it comes from, you hear people and you see clips on TV and things about kids in some of the poorest countries in the world who have nothing, but they're the happiest people. And so I guess that's where people think, well, you can't buy happiness. Look at these people, they've got nothing. Are they happy? And then on the flip side of that, you see people who have got everything and are absolutely miserable.
You can always find exceptions to the rule.
Absolutely.
So you can go to the poorest countries in the world and find a happy person. I agree. You can also go to some of the wealthiest countries in the world and find people with millions and billions of, whatever, money.
Miserable.
And they're miserable. I get that.
Yeah.
But I think for the rest of the bell curve, everyone else, if you're broke, on your ass, don't know where your next meal is coming from, have no shelter, can't put food on the table, life is shit and miserable.
Yeah.
If you go and say to that person, money doesn't buy happiness, they will punch you in the face.
Yeah.
Because of what a load of bullshit.
Yeah.
So anyone who says money doesn't buy happiness hasn't been poor enough or broke enough. And I haven't been. Thankfully, I've never been in that position where I've been so on the bones of my ass that $1 or $5 would just make or break the day.
Yeah.
I understand the sentiment. If you're in a really bad place in your life, you can't exchange currency and fix that.
Yeah.
There's a whole bunch of other stuff that you have to do. It's probably mental, probably physical, probably relational. Like there's a whole bunch of other stuff going on.
Yeah. So I guess it can't buy happiness, but what it can buy you is less stress, less worry.
Well, we just talked about what money can buy. Like $1,000 might pay for somebody to do a whole bunch of tasks every week, and that frees you up to do a whole bunch of other stuff.
Yeah.
Now, if you enjoy, I don't know, walking down to the park and playing on the playground with your tamariki, well, if you paid someone to cook the dinner while you went for a walk down to the park and played with your tamariki,
happiness, because it's buying you moments with your kids.
And that is what makes you happy. Guess what? The money just bought you that opportunity. So it did buy you happiness in that particular moment.
Yeah.
Money buys you freedom. Money buys you the ability to do the things that make you happy, but it won't solve your depression, your anxiety, your unhappiness. It just won't.
Your relationships that have gone south, all those things.
You still have to know how and where to spend that money in order to create the opportunity to experience happiness.
Yeah. For some people, another thing you often hear is more money, more problems, which is kind of the opposite of that, because it's not buying you happiness, it's buying you more problems.
It's different problems.
Yeah.
More money, different problems.
Again, spoken from a place of privilege, really, More money, more problems. Because if you're on the bones of your ass and you can't put food on the table for your kids, you would give anything for more money and more problems and different problems.
Different problems.
So,
like if I just think
relative,
it's all relative. If I think about our business, when we started at Joe Sumner, it was a core group of about 8 of us.
Yeah.
So we had 8 staff.
Yeah.
And we had a business that generated, I don't know, $1 million in top line revenue or something like that.
Yeah.
So $1 million in top line revenue, potentially 8 staff that could individually bring a problem to you each day.
Yeah.
When you scale from 1 million to 3 million, your staff also scale from, say, 8 staff to 20 staff. Now you've got 20 potential problems. So yes, we've got more money and we've got more opportunity but they're just different problems. That's all. And then you scale to 10 million. So now you've gone from 1 million to 10 million top line revenue,
and
more money.
Different again.
Your problems don't go away. They just look different.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't think it's more money, more problems. I just think it's more money, different problems, because poor people have also got their own shit to deal with.
Yeah. Nah.
Like we've all got shit to deal with.
It really is. You're absolutely right when you say that. Both those things, money can't buy happiness, more money, more problems. Yeah. If you're on struggle street,
I reckon there's an amount of money that is enough to make you comfortable.
But I guess with money, there's definitely a point in life where it's like you have everything you need. So this is the point where you now go, right, I'm now going to give.
Yeah.
And that's something that I've always really admired about you as a really big part of life. And I remember you having a meeting with someone and he said to you, so really all you want to do is be a philanthropist. Inherently, probably for you, it's like you want to get your life comfortable and look after the people around you, your friends, your family. And then you want to be able to just give. But in order to get to the place where you can just give,
one of the things that I know about myself is that the goalposts always shift.
Yeah.
Like at the moment, I'm on a mission. I've got a number in my head that I think will be enough money if I can guarantee that type of money is going to flow into my life regularly.
Yeah.
That I can do all of the things that I want to do right now, and it's not an astronomical amount of money. I don't think it is. So my goals right now are I want to look after your parents, my whānau. I want to make sure that my whānau doesn't want for anything.
Yeah.
Okay. I also enjoy going and doing things. Really love going overseas with our tamariki. Be nice to do that once, maybe twice a year. Have a couple of nice trips every year. Create some really valuable whānau moments, but also have the ability to be able to go and do those weekly things like the dancing lessons or the swimming lessons or the footy training and the games and all of that sort of stuff, go to the prize givings and all that stuff. So, having a certain amount of money to be able to do that. Once I hit that number, I know in myself that the goalpost will change. I'm like, cool, done this, tick that off. Now what?
Now what can I do?
Now I go wider and I go, all right, now I want to look after my community.
Yeah.
And I know that there are people in my community who are doing things like fundraisers to try and save to go and do these things. It would be lovely to be able to go, don't tell anyone, here's the money. You don't have to give up the next 4 Sundays chopping firewood.
Yeah.
I got this. Go and hang out with your whānau and do something nice.
Yeah.
So, that's how I'm hardwired. And that's what motivates me to get up, work my ass off, work every day. Yeah. It's probably not healthy, but I can't change who I am.
Nah.
That's just the way.
And it probably because I'm not hardwired like that. Like I'm not hardwired to with money. Like money doesn't motivate me.
How much money do you want?
Oh God, that's a big question.
Yeah, I'm asking. How much money do you want?
I don't know.
Have you not got a number?
Nah.
Any idea?
Nah.
Is it like in the millions? When I say how much money do you want, I'm not talking about net worth because I'm talking about liquid cash coming in per annum that you can just spend on whatever you want. What number do you think would make you?
Couldn't answer that because what comes to mind first is the things that I would want to do. I would like to be able to take our kids away, like you just said, all the time. But whether that's down the road to Hanma Springs or to Dubai, So I guess, I don't know, I can't really answer that question, but that's probably where you and I are hardwired differently because like I said, money motivates you. It always has. I don't think money motivates me in the same way. And I would like to think that I would just make the most of whatever I've got in the moment. But the reality is, sure, I would love to be able to do all those things. Everyone would. So yeah,
I'm asking you a hypothetical.
I don't think I could answer that. I don't know. I can't answer that.
That's okay.
But I think we're hardwired differently, and that's probably a really good thing. And it is something that makes people uncomfortable. I think it's something that we all judge people for lots of different reasons. We judge people on how they spend their money. We judge people on how much they earn, like so many things, which is just so unnecessary, really.
And sometimes it's hidden, because we go, oh, kia ora, nice to meet you. What's your name? That's the first thing we ask.
Yeah.
And then often the next question is, what do you do for a living? Yeah. What do you do? And really what we're trying to figure out is
where they fit on the money.
On the scale.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm a lawyer. Oh, okay. You're up here.
Yeah.
Oh, I work in such and such job. Okay. So you're probably down here. And it's all about status.
Yeah.
Yeah. Fucked up.
It is. It really is, eh? And maybe because just going back to what we were talking about before about how you said it, do you think I worry about what people think? And I think it's because I don't want to be up here on the status rail. Like I've got no desire to be that person, but I also really enjoy being able to do things
for people,
for my kids, So it's like
if it was anonymous, I think we come back to that other point earlier, which is that if people didn't know, you wouldn't care. So if people didn't know that you had somebody folding the washing, cleaning the car, cooking the dinner, whatever, if no one knew about that, if it was like your big dirty little secret, then you'd be like, yeah, I'll pay for that. If you could afford it, you'd be like, yeah, I'll pay for that because it'd be awesome to be able to walk down to the park instead of cook the dinner, fold the washing.
Yeah.
But as soon as someone finds out about it, you're like, oh, damn.
Yes.
Now people are judging me.
And we go, and also you go, you said before about how maybe it feels like you've got a housekeeper and it's like someone's working for you. But lots of people are working for all of us all the time. And just because you're paying someone to do a job doesn't mean you can't pay them a fair amount for the work that they're doing and look after them as people.
Of course.
Treat them like human beings.
Yeah. The other thing about status symbols, because we were just talking about status, is that often status is measured in things that you can see. So like the clothes that you're wearing, the jewelry that you've got on, the watch that you're wearing, the car that you drive, the suburb that you live in. These are all things that people can see and measure status by. Whereas if it was all anonymous, actually the answer is like, I want as much money as I can, because if I can get as much money as I can do a whole bunch of different stuff.
Yeah.
I can look after a whole bunch of different people and no one would ever know.
Yeah.
So it actually comes down to who knows about it and who's judging me.
Who's judging me, yeah. That's so true.
And like I said earlier, fuck them, who cares?
Yeah.
When you're dead, who cares what they think?
Yeah, that's so true.
They'll probably die before you anyway. There's a 50-50 chance.
There is a 50-50 chance, this is true.
Okay, money.
Okay, yeah, interesting.
Money, 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 money. Should we leave it there?
Yeah.
We could talk about it a lot more, but
yeah.
I think it's a good place to start.
Yeah.
Good place to leave it as well.
Yeah. And maybe there'll be some questions from people who listen.
Yeah. If you've got any questions, fire them our way.
Yeah, about how, or just opinions. Yeah.
Okay, cool.
Okay.
All right. Well, I appreciate your time. Thank you very much for your wisdom and your insight and for your honesty. I know it's uncomfortable. Look at your body language. You're like, oh, I'm so uncomfortable.
Because I've been like, oh.
You don't like talking about it, eh? No one does. No one does.
Yeah.
I do. Well, no. Okay. Well, look, appreciate you guys for joining us for another episode of Beyond the Hustle. Hopefully that was interesting. Hopefully it gets some thought-provoking ideas bouncing around your head and generate some kōrero, some conversation around the dinner table. But for now, that's us. We'll leave it there. And we look forward to seeing you all on the next episode of Beyond the Hustle. Ngā mihi, ka kite.